The rent is free on Mars, but one broken oxygen pump could cost more than your entire life on Earth. You are calculating the true cost of living in the first permanent Mars colony. At first, the numbers seem simple: a habitat, food, water, electricity, transportation. Then you remember one brutal fact. On Mars, nothing exists unless someone carries it there, builds it there, or manufactures it from the planet itself. You open the colony budget. The first expense is transportation. Every kilogram launched from Earth requires fuel, spacecraft, engineering, ground support, and months of planning. A chair is no longer just a chair, it is cargo mass. A replacement computer is not a quick online order. It is a mission-critical shipment traveling millions of kilometers through space. The first colonists may arrive with supplies worth billions of dollars before they even step onto the surface. But transport is only the beginning. Next comes housing. On Earth, a damaged wall is inconvenient. On Mars, a damaged wall could kill everyone inside. The atmosphere is thin, cold, and almost entirely carbon dioxide. The habitat must remain pressurized every second of every day. It needs reinforced walls, radiation shielding, airlocks, emergency seals, fire protection, and multiple backup systems. You cannot rely on one oxygen generator. You need several. You cannot have one electrical grid. You need solar arrays, batteries, emergency power, and possibly a compact nuclear system. Every life support machine must have a replacement part ready before it fails. That means the true cost of a Mars apartment is not measured by floor space. It is measured by how long it can keep you alive without help from Earth. Then you calculate oxygen. A person uses hundreds of liters of oxygen every day. Shipping endless tanks from Earth would be impossible, so the colony must manufacture oxygen from Martian carbon dioxide or extract it from water. That requires machinery. Machinery requires electricity. Electricity requires maintenance. Maintenance requires trained workers, spare parts, and tools. The oxygen itself may be cheap. Keeping the oxygen system alive is not. Water creates the same problem. Mars has frozen water, but reaching it may require drilling, heating, and purification. Almost every drop used inside the colony must be recycled. Water from showers, sinks, sweat, and even human waste must be cleaned and reused. A long shower becomes a luxury. A leaking pipe becomes an emergency. And one contaminated water system could shut down the entire settlement. Now you calculate food. Growing crops on Mars sounds cheaper than shipping meals from Earth, but a Martian farm needs pressurized rooms, artificial light, heat, nutrients, and carefully controlled water. The soil outside may contain harmful chemicals, so crops cannot simply be planted in the ground. Every tomato requires energy. Every potato occupies valuable growing space. Every failed harvest increases dependence on stored food. Meat would be especially expensive. Raising large animals would consume too much water, food, and habitat space. Most colonists would probably survive on plants, preserved food, cultured protein, and tightly rationed treats from Earth. Then comes energy. Solar power works, but Mars receives less sunlight than Earth. Dust can cover panels, and global dust storms may weaken power production for weeks. Heating the colony requires constant electricity because Martian nights can become dangerously cold. The farm needs power. The water recycler needs power. The oxygen system needs power. The medical center needs power. Without energy, every other system begins to fail. So the colony pays for redundancy. 2 systems where one would normally be enough. Emergency batteries, stored fuel, backup generators, extra cables, extra tools, extra everything. You add medical care to the budget. There are no nearby hospitals. A serious injury cannot be treated with an ambulance ride. The colony needs surgeons, emergency medicine, dental equipment, medication, diagnostic machines, and isolation rooms. Even then, doctors must handle problems with limited supplies. Radiation exposure may increase long-term health risks. Low gravity may weaken bones and muscles. Colonists will need regular exercise, medical monitoring, and possibly artificial gravity systems in the future. A single complicated illness could cost more than maintaining an entire department on Earth. Then you reach the most overlooked expense: human labor. On Mars, every worker must be highly trained. A mechanic may also need to understand electrical systems. A doctor may need engineering skills. A farmer may need to repair robots. A scientist may spend half the day checking air filters. There are no ordinary jobs, because ordinary mistakes can become fatal. Workers must be compensated not only for their time, but for isolation, danger, and years spent away from Earth. Communication is another cost. Messages between Earth and Mars can take minutes to arrive. There are no live conversations when the planets are far apart. The colony must operate independently. That means more experts, more training, and more local decision-making. It also means psychological costs. You live inside sealed rooms. You see the same people every day. You cannot step outside without a suit. You cannot visit your family. You cannot feel rain, swim in an ocean, or breathe fresh air. The colony may need private rooms, entertainment systems, counseling, exercise areas, and artificial gardens simply to keep people mentally healthy. Finally, you calculate risk. What price do you place on a failed supply mission? A damaged greenhouse, a medical emergency, a dust storm, a habitat leak, a conflict among colonists. Every uncertain event adds another layer of insurance, backup equipment, and stored resources. You finish the calculation and stare at the total. Living on Mars is not expensive because Mars charges rent. It is expensive because Mars provides almost nothing humans need for free. Earth gives you air, pressure, water, protection from radiation, and a functioning ecosystem before you earn a single dollar. On Mars, every breath has infrastructure behind it. Every meal has engineering behind it. Every glass of water has recycling behind it. The first Mars colonists may live in history's most advanced settlement while having less personal comfort than an average person on Earth. And that is the true cost of life on Mars. Not just billions of dollars to build the colony, but thousands of machines working perfectly every second simply to recreate the things Earth has always given us for nothing.